invasive species are you familiar with?
I, 2 summers ago, caught a salmon in Lake Michigan that had a lamprey eel on it. And it made a hole in the side of it about that big. Now, the guy who ran the charter that I was on told me it hadn't been on there that long because it had only got through the, come on, man, what's on?
Scales.
Yeah, the scales. It hadn't gotten down to the skin. But we got it off, we pulled it off the fish, and it had a round mouth with a series of like little teeth all the way around. It looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. It was trippy. And then it had a sucker mouth, and he had to kill it right there. He cut it in half, which didn't stop it from moving. But yeah, I caught a salmon about that big with a big lamprey eel. It was trippy.
Okay, Spencer, do you know anything about invasive species in the Great Lakes?
Not a whole lot, no.
All right, do you know any that are in the Great Lakes? Or
Nope.
do you know of any?
Nope. Are zebra mussels an invasive species?
Nope, there's one. Have you ever heard of the sea lamprey?
No. No.
All right. Do you think that zebra mussels are a problem in the Great Lakes?
Yeah, they could be. Yep. They kill off some good stuff that we like, you know.
Okay, so do you know anything about invasive species?
They're invasive and they take over stuff.
All right. Are there any invasive species in the Great Lakes that you know of?
Aren't zebra mussels invasive species?
That's one. Do you know any others?
No.
Have you ever heard of sea lamprey?
No.
I'm staring at chat the whole time.
Do you know what a zebra mussel is?
Zebra mussels are those like little sharp mussels that you step on in lakes, I think.
Have you ever stepped on one?
Yes, I've stepped and cut my foot open on zebra mussels.
Do you know where they came from?
I don't know where they came from, but I know that they're invading Lake Michigan.
Do you know how they affect the ecosystem at all?
I think that they choke out the air from other species. So
The sea lamprey, Petromyzon marinus, is a fish native to the North Atlantic Ocean. These fish have eel-like bodies, are limbless, and have an amazing sense of smell. These animals were found in Lake Ontario in the 1800s and had found their way into the upper Great Lakes in the mid to late 1930s. The reason for this random and sudden appearance was the improvement of the Wieland Canal in order to better serve the shipping industry in 1921. Before this, the Niagara Falls were the natural barrier. The sea lamprey, being an invasive species, spread quickly due to many factors. It had no predators in the Great Lakes that could control its population, and there were many fish for them to feed on in the Great Lakes, the lake trout to name one. The appearance of sea lamprey in the Great Lakes was a major part of the collapse of the lake trout fishery in the 1950s. The lamprey feeds on fish by using its disc-like mouth to suction onto a fish, then use its razor-sharp teeth and tongue to cut into the scales and tissues of the body. The lamprey eats the body fluids of the fish, which result in damaging scars and possible death. The sea lamprey are controlled in two different manners. The first control method is the use of chemicals. The most popular of these is TFM, 3-trifluoromethyl-4-nitrophenol. This chemical attacks the lamprey when they are in a larval stage. While this method has been extremely successful, it still has some issues. To name a few, TFM is very costly, and it can cause damage to specific organisms like amphibians. Another increasingly popular method is trapping and sterilizing the lamprey. By doing this, when they are released back into the waters, they mate with females. Since the males are sterile at this point, the eggs are not fertilized and no lamprey are born from that pair of lamprey. This method is good because the use of chemicals in the lakes is reduced drastically and other organisms are not affected by this method of control.
Dreissena polymorpha, a tiny but prolific filter feeder, also known as a zebra mussel, is native to the Caspian Sea region. Zebra mussels first turned up in North America in the summer of 1988 due to overseas freighters dumping their contaminated ballast water in the Great Lakes. There, zebra mussels spread to all 5 Great Lakes and into the Mississippi, Tennessee, Hudson, and Ohio River basins. Zebra mussels are very successful invaders because they live and feed in many different aquatic habitats. Each female produces up to 1 million eggs per year. Zebra mussels are so small and they spread easily by water currents and can drift for miles before settling and remain attached to hard objects such as boats, boat trailers, and vessels that are carried inland to other inland lakes. Zebra mussels are filter feeders, and unfortunately, the material that they filter removes the water of other live animals and algae that supply food for other fish and other invertebrates. As the lakes clear, the brighter light levels cause aquatic plants to increase in number and size, which has wreaking havoc on our ecosystem. The invasion of the zebra mussels was brought to attention in the early 1990s as clusters of mussels started to plug pipes at power plants and city drinking systems. The economic costs are now more than $3 billion per decade. The Great Lakes are now home to more than 160 non-native species, with approximately 10% of these, including the zebra mussel, causing billions of dollars in damages. As of June 2005, Senate Bill 332 reduces the number of non-native invasive species introductions from ship ballast water. The only way to get rid of zebra mussels are to physically go in and mechanically scrape off the zebra mussels from clogging up pipes. The other way is through chemicals. However, many chemicals that kill zebra mussels are also really tolerant and tough that everything in the water would have to be poisoned to destroy the mussel. Commercial water users rely on chemicals such as chlorine filters or mechanical scraping, as said before, to remove mussels from their intake pipes and facilities. Scientists are now aiming to prevent zebra mussels from even entering, rather than trying to eradicate the ones that are already here. Removing zebra mussels from a lake or a river is almost impossible, but preventing their spread into new areas is not. Human activities have spread zebra mussels into many inland lakes and streams through recreational boating, fishing, and diving practices. Simple prevention steps such as draining live wells, cleaning off vegetation off boat trailers, removing attached zebra mussels from boat hulls, and not dumping bait into lakes or rivers can prevent the spread of zebra mussels and other exotics into non-infested waters.